This is the project that we are going to be working with today. Super cute little Christmas shaker card. All right, so we're going to take some real red cardstock. We're going to be doing several layers with our card. Okay, so we're going to do real red cardstock as our card base. We're going to cut this to 5.5. By 8.5. And we are going to score it at 4.25. So 4.25. Okay. And hopefully you can see that score line there. Okay. So that is our card base. Okay. All right, so this piece of paper is already cut to 4, and we're also going to cut this to 5.25. Okay, so that's going to be our layering piece. We're going to bring in a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock. We're going to cut the Mossy Meadow down to, let's see, 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so these are our outer layering pieces. And then we're going to do 3 layers that are the same size for our shaker. And so that will be Whisper White. I've already cut this one down. We're going to take a piece of window sheets. The window sheets can be found in the annual catalog. Okay, so let's see. This one is already cut to 4.5. So now I'm going to cut it to 3.5, which is the same as the Whisper White. Now, whenever you're doing a shaker card, one tip is if you do it just a hair under the line, that way it will fit nicely so that you can't see the window sheet poking out from your layer. It's just like a security thing because you really don't want that to show. So let me show you what I mean by that. So it lines right up. Okay, it's just a way to ensure that your measurements aren't going to be a little bit, off, or that anything's going to be poking out that shouldn't be. And then the last piece that we're going to do is the red. Now, I also wanted to show you the green because this would be just as beautiful on this card. Okay, so we're going to do the red. And this one, let's see. Let's do 3.5 again. By 4.5. Okay, and then just to keep in mind, for the inside panel, okay, we're also going to do a piece of Whisper White, 4 inches by 5.25 inches. And of course you can make that smaller just depending on how much red frame you want on the inside of your card. Okay, so this is the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This is the die from the Have a Hoot bundle that we're going to be using today. And this is a double duty die. So if you need to get a lot of work done in a short period of time, this is definitely a workhorse product to use. So we're going to do our plates. Okay, I'm not gonna tape down the die. It is always a risk, but I'm just gonna hold on tight to my plates to keep that from moving. I don't really like to put any type of adhesive on foil cardstock. I want it to be nice and shiny. So what we get here are 3 tags and then our frame. So this is wonderful, especially for Christmas crafting. We're going to do some stuff with these tags, just not in today's live, just for the sake of time. But look at this. This is one of my favorite dies this year. Okay, so we have these 3 gorgeous red foil tags that we could decorate up with some really cute owls, you know. And we'll, like I said, we're going to do a project with this. But for today, I just wanted to show you this is what you get. So we're going to set these aside for another project. And now I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. All right, and so the way that it worked with the Stamparatus is you take your, your blank piece, whatever you're going to stamp. So in this case, it will be my 3.5 by 4.5 piece of paper, which is the same size that you see here. I like to keep one on the Stamparatus, and then as I'm making multiple cards, that's how I know where to put the other piece. And then I just put the magnets down on the new piece. And when it's done, take the new piece off, put another piece on. The reason that I do that is because I don't actually have the Stamparatus has an accessory pad that you could do like, it's like a scratch pad and it has measurements on it. And you can throw the pieces of paper away after you do your stamping on it or anything like that. But I don't have that. And my foam mat doesn't show me any measurements. So because of that, this is a good way to just kind of know where my stamps are going to go without me having to constantly like recenter it. Okay, so what I did was I put this down initially. So I put this down first. I took my stamps and just laid them right on top so that I knew that they would fit in the frame. Okay, so just laid them down just like that and picked up the stamps with the plate, the hinged plate. Okay, now because we're going to do some coloring with our Stampin' Blends today, I'm going to use the Memento Tuxedo black ink on these. Just applying some pressure to the plate. All right, and there we go. So I'm just going to remove the top piece. I mean, you can make a bunch of these and they're going to be so cute. Okay, so here's how it will go. Now, the one thing is that our C in Merry Christmas, it's hiding just a little, and this is actually going to like pop up, so you'll be able to see a little bit better. But if you would want to position that just a little bit, like just a hair over, you could do that. I could probably do this and just cut off a hair of the white. Maybe that's what I'll do. Let's see. Because I really want you to be able to see. So just the tiniest piece. And I'm just going to reposition this slightly. Yeah, see, I think that's better. Okay, and then that way that white wouldn't stick out there on the edge. And we'll just be mindful of that when we assemble it. But for now, we're going to do some coloring. So I'm just going to grab my Stamparatus, which is where my scrap paper is. Let's do some coloring. So what I was doing, at least here, was really basic shading. So cinnamon cider dark, cinnamon cider light, cinnamon cider dark, cinnamon cider light, just varying, but there's no special shading or anything on those. The branch is soft suede light, and their little Santa hats are real red dark. Okay, and then this one's a combination of cinnamon cider, same branch, soft suede, and then the colors for the present are real red dark and granny apple green light. And then the little beaks and the feet are the pumpkin pie dark. And so we're just going to color those in just basically the same way. So we'll start with the dark, cinnamon cider dark. All right, and let's just take a quick look here. Super cute. So we're going to start building this out now. So let's work in layers here. I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal, which is an adhesive runner. Okay. And we want to keep the adhesive away from the open window areas. We really just want to put it where the white is. We're going to focus on the edges. And we're going to take our window sheet and we're just going to carefully lay the window sheet over top of the layer. We don't want that window sheet poking out anywhere. All right, and we're just going to adhere that together. All right, that looks good. And then we're going to take our foam. These are foam strips, so foam adhesive strips. I actually cut these in half, so they're usually about double this size. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to frame this out. So the last time I had done a shaker card, there was a question if, because I actually close in each of the boxes, you know, if you could just do the shaker like this with the outer edges and just let the sequins, you know, be all over the card as opposed to compartmentalizing them into the 3 frames. And you can absolutely do that. The difference is, and I thought I would do that with this today, is that we can change the colors. You know, we can vary it up. So if you wanted to do red and then you wanted to do maybe just snowflakes where it says Merry Christmas, you know, however you're going to do that, when you compartmentalize them, when you close in each one, when you close in each frame, you can really get creative with the colors and things that you're using, but you don't have to do that. If you just want it to be the outer frame here and you want the same color sequins, or you're going to just do a combination of red, green, and gold everywhere, then you could just leave it like this. All right, here comes the fun part. So we're going to take our sequins for everything. And what we're going to do is put our sequins directly on. We're going to keep the sequins in a little pile right on your stamped image. And that will keep it nice and tight so that when you put your frame down, you're not going to get sequins all over, you know, blocking your foam adhesive strips. So we're just going to keep that. And one thing I have learned is to do just a little bit less of the sequins on your sentiment because you don't want to cover up what it says. It's okay if there's a sequin or two, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave that C where I can see it so that I can gauge when I'm putting this down that I'm not covering that C. Okay, so here we go. You can give a little test run first. So in the positioning, I just want to make sure I can clearly see that C. All right, and now I'm just going to press it down. How cute is that? Okay, so let's assemble the rest of our card. So for our decoration part of this, we're going to need that striped Mossy Meadow ribbon. I'm going to be generous with it just because I'm going to be playing around with the length. So what would we say, about 10 inches for that? And here are our glitter star ornaments. All right, now I'm actually going to be cutting off the little ornament, the hanger part. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this hole. We're going to take the edge of our ribbon and feed that through. Okay, just get it in the middle there. Sounds like my little guy is awake. He's with his dad. Okay. And we're just going to tie a bow. And I'm just going to start to tighten this and work with the size here. The size, that makes me happy. So just want to try to keep that star center with the knot of the bow. And I think that this looks really cute right here. Okay, so you can test it out on your card. So what I want is for this little star to kind of match up just above my Merry Christmas. I just think that that looks really pretty. So I'm going to just, while it's laying here, we're going to trim off what we don't need in terms of the ribbon. I should have followed the line. I should have stayed right with the angle. It's okay. All right, and then we're going to glue this down. So I just want to make sure that this little tail does not cover my owl. So I'm going to take, because this is like a 3D element, I'm going to take a glue gun and I'm going to secure it with a glue gun. Just keep in mind with 3D elements like this, there may be more postage involved, and you may need a larger envelope. When I typically do a 3-dimensional element like this, it's usually going in a gift package or with, a food gift or food items or something like that I'm either hand delivering or that's going together in a big care package, like in a big box. So that's just something to keep in mind whenever you are doing 3-dimensional elements like this. Okay, and then for the inside, why don't we get some ink? Because we have red and white here, let's do a green ink. I'm going to do Mossy Meadow since that's in our color theme here. We're going to do the Owl I Want for Christmas Is You. Okay. And there you go.